What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over testosterone, how to take it, what to be scared of, what the common fear-mongering side effects that you're going to experience if not taken properly. Now it can be easily broken down into like about 5 major pillars, and we'll go over the best medications to take to negate all these side effects and basically what is going on. So when you take exogenous testosterone, your natural testosterone and your endogenous testosterone will tank and it will shut down almost completely. So basically, if you hop off of testosterone to boot up your natural testosterone, you're going to want to take a post-cycle therapy. Now, what would be a good option for that? I think enclomiphene is like the only right option for that. It'll open up your enclomids and it'll kickstart your natural test production, and that kind of gets rid of the first worry, one of the first 5 major pillars of side effects that come from taking exogenous testosterone. Now, the next thing I want to talk about would be the fertility and testicular atrophy issue. So when you take testosterone and don't take this other compound, it's called HCG. If you don't take HCG, your balls will shrivel up and shrink, your nuts will shrink, and you'll basically go infertile. Now, if you do get to the point of infertility, you can take HMG. It'll kind of revive, your entire system down there. But HCG towards the end of the cycle, if it's a long cycle, and then after the cycle with your post-cycle therapy, will do just fine. And I'll make a guide for HCG, and if you're looking to get HCG, a good place to get that would be geneticedgelabs.com. They're a trustworthy source. They get lab tests done and they're pretty cheap, so I definitely recommend them. And then as far as the other major problems you're going to find, so the next one would be your estrogen. So when you take testosterone, your estrogen spikes up, and that's where you see the gynecomastia coming from. So you want to, this is the trickiest part, you want to inhibit it perfectly. You don't want too little estrogen, because then your bone density will go to trash, and you don't want too much estrogen because it'll fuse your growth plates, it'll give you gynecomastia, and it's just estrogen. Everyone knows estrogen is bad for the most part. So how do you inhibit the aromatization? You take an aromatase inhibitor. Aromatization is the conversion of testosterone to estrogen. So you don't want to take aromasin. Aromasin is neurotoxic and it is a suicide inhibitor, and your estrogen will never recover after you stop taking testosterone. So you want to take Arimidex. Do your research with your dosing, because it's all depending on your blood work and how much gear you're going to take. So that's the best option, is Arimidex. And then for the next major part would be your DHT levels. So DHT stands for dihydrotestosterone, and your testosterone naturally converts to dihydrotestosterone. What does dihydrotestosterone do? Dihydrotestosterone is the main component in male pattern balding. So that's why you see when people blast gear, they end up going bald. That is a huge factor in taking gear properly. You need to inhibit your DHT. It's also responsible for facial hair growth, sebaceous gland, like it produces more sebum, causing acne, mainly back knee, and that's why you see that a lot in people who take gear. And then also DHT is responsible for penile growth during puberty. So don't inhibit your DHT once you're at least 18 years old. Don't do any of this until you're at least 18 years old, unless it's human growth hormone. You definitely should take that. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is your oxidative stress. So if you notice that people, when they blast gear, they age 30 years in 2 years. That is due to oxidative stress, and that is the one side effect you can't completely negate, but you can heavily prevent that with the use of a lot of supplements, and I'm going to make an entire video separate on that. But make sure you do your research on oxidative stress. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. That concludes this video.